Welcome back. So we're starting to construct the right wing, but more on that in a minute. So on Monday, Jeff aligned this first leading edge wing rib with the one from the end of the strake. As you can see, and he's got like a 16th inch spacer in there, and he's just screwed it onto the other one right now and bonded it there with high sol onto the spar right there, where you can see where the high sol is. So that's that one in place, and there's a screw holding it to the other rib so it stays aligned. And then on the other side of the aircraft, did the same thing there. So that's now bonded to the spar, and that will help drive everything going forward with respect to the skins and the other ribs and everything like that, because it can be set into the jig and kind of be used as an index point. And Britt stopped by on Monday afternoon and Tuesday morning there today to weld up this bracket there. So you can see he's sort of in the process of getting that done, and we had a few other little jobs for him to do as well. So it's nice to get that underway. And you can see he's doing some more work. And there's quite a lot of welding to do on that, because there's so many different places where it's intersecting with itself and also with the existing engine mount. And I've been spending some time putting the hardware back in the doors. The bolts there, the ones that I took out, and the other ones that are holding the glass in, and also the pins on the other side, and I haven't done it on this one yet, but the goal is to get the doors back on so I can check how well I did with laying up that extra thickness on the A-pillar. And I decided now was as good a time as any to cut out these foam blanks for the door trim panels. You'll see more on that in a little bit. And meanwhile, I've also been working on the Arduino over the weekend as well. And this is taken with my GoPro because I wanted to show you my phone as well. Normally I record with my phone, but anyway, that's just looking at my screen in the office there, just showing you some of the code that I've been doing. And I know it's not coming out very clearly for you to read there, but that was really not the point. So I've added a bunch more features and stuff to this code now, and I can control the Arduino using Bluetooth from my phone. So there's the unit there, and I got a couple of LEDs showing or just sort of indicating the two different pressure solenoids, whether they be on or not, depending on what's going on. And you see I've got a couple little pots there in blue on the board there that I can turn to adjust, adjust the pressure and the temperature. And this is how the output displays there on my phone. So you can see all the different numbers there that are coming out now. It tells you which source of air is being fed into the cabin and what's the temperature of that air coming into the cabin, and you also have the ability now to turn it on and off, and you can set what the maximum pressure is, and you can set what the cabin or what the altitude is that it operates from. So there's a bunch of different things that I've been putting in there, and I've got the hardware now so I can actually wire it into a permanent board, and so I'll be working on that next time I get a chance to do some stuff on this. But anyway, as you can see, that's coming along, and that's going to handle our pressurization inflow. And as I said before, the outflow is going to be handled by the Enviro Systems one that we have. And after Jeff got that wing rib, or those wing ribs bonded to the wing spar, the leading ones, he's now got the skin that's been all fully prepped and trimmed and sanded back into the jig, including the skin there for the winglet. So those two are kind of aligned up. We still need to just completely align the jig, but that'll happen in a little bit. And Dan's been working on just tidying up and finishing off a bunch of different things in the engine compartment, including, you see he's running the Cat 5 there that hooks up to the Motec unit, and he's also got the pedostatic line there. That's the dark blue one is the pedostatic, and the light blue one is the Cat 5. And here's Jeff now. He's got that rib on there, is doing the match drilling there. So there's another bolt there with another sleeve that bonds that into place, and so he's drilling that out so he can put that sleeve in there. And this is on the machine, so a little bit later on, as you can see, there's a door trim panel, at least a blank for that, and we're just going to be laying some carbon fiber over the top of that and then vacuuming it down, and then we'll peel that out of there, and we'll be able to send it off to upholstery. And I was mentioning just now the pedostatic, so this is the static port that Dan's drilled the hole in there, and it still needs to be bonded into place, but that's basically where it sits. And if you look in there, there's the dark blue PEX line or PVC line that runs to that, and that goes up to the nose. So and there's his little box there with all the relays and fuses in there, so that's all wired up, and now he can actually turn things on and off just by getting those relays to trigger. So he's mounted the fans on the air conditioning condenser there, and he's got those hooked to one of the relays, and he also has a relay controlling the fan on the radiator, and then there's relays controlling the fuel pump and the heat pump, and then another one that's controlling the starter on the engine. So those are all remotely operated, obviously, so we don't send a whole bunch of current all the way down through the keel, and just low voltage to trigger the relays. So and just look in there, you can see he's got the fan, one of the fans in there. So that's actually the two fans on that air conditioning condenser should pull a lot of air through there and make the air conditioning system work really well. So there you can see we've got the light on there, and you can see he's mounted it. He just used some cable ties in there, which is quite appropriate for that. And after Britt was done on this morning, I was able to drill and at least temporarily mount those brackets there that are holding those rods, and that mount to the new brace there, and that's going to really stop any harmonic happening there with the engine and the engine mount. And as you can see, because I use those rod ends there, it's fully adjustable, so if we want to preload it, we can do that. Want to pull it up or push it down, whatever we need to do, and that actually helps us because we can use that to do a final alignment for the cowling, because the cowling sort of sits around all this, and if it's a little bit out, we can just use those rods, adjust them to lift everything up or down a little bit more. And you see there he's actually got the Ethernet cable there, the mount that comes off the ECU, screwed in through the firewall there, and on the back side there, that's where the Ethernet plugs in that runs down to the front, and that'll go through the forward bulkhead and then ultimately connect up to the tablet that we have, so we can see all the display. And you can see he's also wired up the power now and the ground to the two different fuel pumps, so those are sorted out, and he's got that running through there to the other side, and the grounds are at least, and they're running through the other side, and then just basically hitting a common ground that's in on one of the bolts in there. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so it's basically got all the grounds tied together there. So getting pretty close to having all those systems all finished and wired up. And finally, as you can see here, Jeff's in the process of getting everything sort of put together. He's got some of these things clicqued into place and others just tacked into place there, so we can see how it's fitting. And it turns out, oversight on my part, you see there's a missing rib there. Well, it turns out we never actually made the mold for that, or the plug. So that's something else I've got to do now. It was just there's one for the left and one for the right, and I skipped over them when I was running the tool paths when I was cutting the blanks a while back. So that'll be my job for tomorrow, to get those cut. Anyway, that's our update for the first half of this week, and thanks again for tuning in, and check back on Saturday and see what we get up to for the second half of the week.